Federal University. Now, we've invited all of the candidates running for the office of Claiborne County Mayor. Francis Coffey Jones declined the opportunity to be here this evening. The order in which the candidates are responding tonight was drawn at random just before the start of the forum. They're seated as you look at them at the table as they were drawn. As in our past forums, the order in which they will answer will rotate accordingly. Now, these are important rules, and I'd like for you to listen to these as I list those rules. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for their opening statement, after which Dr. Martin Sellers or I will ask a question. The candidates will have 2 minutes to respond to that question. All questions will be a general question for all candidates to answer accordingly. At the end, each candidate will have 2 minutes to give their closing statement. Candidates, please remember, this is a forum. The time you use to answer the question is your time. Respond however you see fit. We will make this statement clearly. Slander or mudslinging will not be tolerated. That is a firm statement. We also ask that the members of the audience be respectful to these candidates. With that being said, we reserve the right to eject anyone from this venue if that or those rules are violated. We understand that not all questions the public has may be raised. Therefore, we encourage you to seek out these candidates and question them yourself. This forum is meant to inform the voters in the most efficient manner possible. Lastly, please remember, the general election day is August 2nd. Early voting starts July 13 and runs through July 28. Now, I would like to introduce the first number 1 candidate, and from that point we'll go down the line. You will introduce yourselves, and then you will have 2 minutes to make your opening statements. Are there any questions? Our first candidate, Mr. Melvin Daniels.
Yes, I'm Mr. Melvin Daniels. My name is, they call me Big Melvin Daniels. I don't know why, but I'm glad to be here. I farmed here all my life. My family's been here all their life. The problem that I see that we have, and it's a major problem all over the United States, is with our drug problem. Knowing that we need to start with our children, the parents need somewhere to go that they can get help. The dealers needs to be put away. Also, I'm related to Jack. I have no enemies here. I'm just applying for the job of county mayor. Just to be frank, we need to step up and take control of our county. I remember in '79, we had a new car dealership in Claiborne County. We had different businesses, but if you want to go to a Super Walmart or anything like that, you have to go to Millsboro, Virginia, or Knoxville. And the side of business and our workers are making far less than what they should be making. And a lot of people don't like to do this. You say, well, you're a farmer. Well, I can't farm anybody on the farm. I have to bring in legal immigrants come out of South America. And it's a shame. It's a shame. We used to do it with our high school kids. But you can't do that no more. And over vocational is highly, we got to have something for these children when they get out of school to do. And that's all I got to say.
My name's Randall O.T. Smith. I'm originally from Kentucky, moved here in 1984. ran a couple of successful businesses in town, Tazzle Auto Parts and Otis Frame Body Shop. I chose to raise my family here, put down deep roots in the community. I'm running to try to help us get out of debt, try to bring in some new industry into the county. Like Melvin said, the opioid crisis. You know, we need to have more drug awareness. We need to help the families. We need to have programs to keep the kids off drugs. And you know, if they do turn to drugs, we need to have some programs to rehabilitate them, which aren't really working nationwide. We're the number 7 county in the nation, not just the state, in the nation. And Campbell County is even worse. They're like 3rd. But I've got a lot of plans for, you know, I coach T-ball team here in the county. My granddaughter played on. I've coached my sons. I've ran a business. That's what I know, and that's what I plan on running the county like if elected. I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
My name's Jack Daniels. I am the Claiborne County Mayor, and I'm very proud to say that I've served this county for the last 8 years. And most of all, I'm thankful that I've been a citizen of Claiborne County all my life. And very proud of my family. I got a wonderful wife, Dixie Redmond Daniels, 3 wonderful daughters and son-in-laws. And I worked hard my whole life and worked on the farm and did construction. And since I've been old enough, you know, I was telling somebody today, since I've been old enough to go gather eggs, that's what you had to do. When I grew up, you worked. And I'm very thankful on that for the raising that I had. And I'm very thankful tonight to say that I am the mayor of Claiborne County. I'm very thankful to say this here, that the Lord and Savior is the most precious thing, Jesus Christ, in my life, okay? And if I'll put Him first, if you'll put Him first, you will be a servant to the people. I have been that servant to the people. In the last 8 years, we have paid $21,755,000 on the debt of Claiborne County. That's $2.7 million per year. So I'm very proud to be called the mayor of Claiborne County, and I take pride in my work, my integrity. I do not lie, and I have the trust of the people of Claiborne County, and them that know me well. Thank you.
Hopefully I'm close enough. My name is Joe Brooks. I'm running for the office of county mayor. Many of you by now probably have heard my name or read about me in the newspaper, and that's been on the front page, not the bad page. Like most people, I grew up in Claiborne County. I was educated in Claiborne County. I graduated from Claiborne County High School. What some people don't know about me is I went into the U.S. Navy after high school. I returned home, worked on and off the farm part-time, attended Walter State Community College and Lincoln Memorial University, and I ultimately received an undergraduate degree in philosophy from the University of Tennessee. I worked with a national sales company selling building supplies, headed up the Tool and Safety Division in the Shenandoah Valley in Charlottesville for that company. In 2008, I moved back to Tennessee and pursued a master's degree shortly thereafter in social work, and earned my master's degree in social work from the University of Tennessee as well. Since then, I've worked in mental health counseling for several years, and then I took over the operation of the family farm due to my aging father's ailing health. I believe Claiborne County has a lot to offer everybody in Claiborne County and those that we need to come into Claiborne County. Like most children of Claiborne County, my parents wanted better for me, but the only way that I could find that was outside of our county. If I'm elected mayor of Claiborne County, I will work diligently to bring in industry and opportunities for educated children of our county to stay, have a family, have a livelihood, and continue to allow Claiborne County to grow and prosper the way we all want to see it done. Now, we're up on this stage tonight with a good group of people. A lot of things are going to be said and promises are made. But I'm asking each and every one of you to ask the question, how are you going to do it and what is the cost? The bottom line is the cost. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Christy Mabry. I am a resident of the county for 13 years. I am also a grandmother, mother, wife, and CFO of the foundation KAVSD.org. It's All Veterans Stand Down. I want to quote somebody. The first female governor of Georgia, recently elected, said something that really brought home to me what is going on here as well as the nation. She said, and I quote, we need to raise our children to trust in God and to be of service in the community always. That starts from the home and school and church and involves sports and all activities. They also, in their way, then promote tourism to their home. We're losing revenue. Our tourism committee got thrown out of the Chamber of Commerce. Why? They don't even know. They dropped them. We need to keep this tourism committee active. And everyone in the homes needs to know it's important to where they live. That means they will become better citizens, not only for the United States, but if they travel abroad too. What I need to see here is accountability and transparency. My prayer for the whole government, not just here, is that. We don't have it anywhere. And I don't believe that there are so many special interest groups. But what I will do is try to find out what's going on, and we will have some accountability. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Clyde Vincent. I also am a 13-year resident of the county. Why do I want the job as county mayor is that to provide leadership with the input of the citizens of Claiborne County. I want to see open government. My experience as a 22-year Coast Guard veteran, I've lived all over the United States and I've seen different areas attempt to do different things to assist with the children activities, help for elderly and disabled. The biggest problem also is the drug problem that we have in our area. I would like to see us get a drug treatment facility in the area. And also, I'd like to research the possibility of us getting a veterans treatment court, which is an alternative to putting people in jail. It's actually giving them treatment and trying to have them get over their addiction problems. I'm also a graduate of Lincoln Memorial University. I got my degree in social work in 2009, so I was not your typical student. I'm also, currently I am a senior program manager for a Veterans Services program for all of Eastern Tennessee. And we assist veterans to get over their drug, housing, employment problems. And the main reason I'd like your vote is I believe that there can be changes made in the government. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Cook, and I want to first thank LMU for hosting this forum. I want to thank Dr. Burchett and Dr. Sellers for moderating this event. I want to thank each of you for attending. Lastly, I want to thank each of my opponents for being here this evening. It's crucial that we engage in these types of events so that the citizens of this county can determine a clear difference of everyone here on this stage. I'm seeking the office of county mayor for the same reason I did in 2014, because I think we can do better. Kim and I have been married for 34 years. We've raised a daughter and a son in this county. We have 4 grandchildren. I was born and raised, and I'm a lifelong resident of Claiborne County. I love living here. I love my home. You've seen some ads from my competitors. You've heard and you will hear a lot of I's. I have done this, I have done that. This is my accomplishments, and so forth. These are simply attempts to draw attention to themselves to get elected or re-elected. Whereas my campaign is about you, the people of Claiborne County. My campaign is about improving the way of life for each and every one of you. And together we'll be effective in doing that. So ask yourselves if your life and the lives of your families have been better over the last 8 years. Has higher paying jobs been brought into the county, or is our young people leaving the county to find those jobs? Someone done said the nation, we're the 7th in opioid prescriptions. That's serious issues, and it's time for our county to have a serious leader. And together, we win. Thank you.
Time, please. Our first question will be asked by Dr. Sellers.
Thank you, Dr. Burchett. Am I on?
I'll remind you, there will be a 2-minute time limit with your answers, so don't forget that, okay?
For announcing me, and appreciate all the candidates being here. Thank you all for being here. The first question tonight at tonight's forum is the following, and if you would, Randall Smith, you'll be the first person to answer this question. Maybe you want to ask.
You want me to go ahead and ask the first question? If elected, what will be your main concern to focus on in Claiborne County over the next 4 years?
Well, the main focus is, you know, our county is beautiful, and try to attract businesses in here to upgrade our wage scale and stuff for the folks needing jobs. We have train track right through the county. We have interstate within 60 miles in any direction you go. I feel like I can talk to anyone and you know, sell our county to get them in here to do whatever needs to be done. We need to have some programs for our youth, like drug and alcohol-free programs where they can come and get with their friends and do things where there's no peer pressure to try drugs or get involved in them. We have the lakes and the rivers here that are beautiful. You know, we have the regatta that comes and does a good job, brings a lot of money into the county, and a lot of people attend and participate in it. And that would be, you know, 4 years is a short term, but that would be my to start.
You're next, Jackie.
Well, my goal for the next 4 years, when I'm re-elected, is Claiborne County Mayor. You will hear the opponents say this and say that, but there has been hundreds of jobs added to Claiborne County in the last 8 years. Okay? And also, clean water. We're working very hard. I have negotiated with Governor Haslam and with the CBG grants, and we have put in over $5 million in city water for people. Clean water is very important for our children. And also, we are working with Walter State Community College for a Boys and Girls Club, and that we can take and we have already done corporate donations of $100,000. It takes $200,000 to get this up. But I'm thankful to Walter State Community College and to the donations that have already been brought in. We're working very hard towards that. And to be able for our kids during the summer to have somewhere safe to go. You just can't take them out there and drop them off. It's a $75,000 budget that we are looking at to get this going. But we're going to attain grants and work with Walter State and other facilities, and that's in stone. You don't have to guess about that, okay? And we're going to take and make this work through our ECD board that I am very proud of. And
Time.
That's it. Okay. Thank you.
If elected mayor of Claiborne County day one, I will seek to reduce taxes in Claiborne County, period. I will begin looking at the budget and I will find items that are unnecessary for expenditures in Claiborne County. We will look through each line item that we can. If we don't need to spend the money, we are no longer going to spend it. For far too long, your property taxes, I'll say for the last 2 years, your property taxes have been tax rate of 2.5777. Up 10 cents from 2 years ago. However, your assessment rate on your property continues to go up and up and up, and that's where you see your property tax increase each year you build. If we don't do something immediately about our tax structure in Claiborne County to reduce that, we're not going to be competitive with getting new employers to come into our area. People are not going to want to open small businesses. They're not going to be participants. That's the first thing. Second thing, I think that I'm going to utilize the very good resources that Claiborne County has to offer. We have many things that are going on in Claiborne County now, but we could be doing better with those. We sit on a national park in Claiborne County, and it is highly underutilized. We do very little to promote that, but we should be promoting that greatly. We almost have a walking trail from Cumberland Gap National Park all the way to Chattanooga, Tennessee. That will bring in tourism into our area that we desperately need. We also have a huge problem with drugs in Claiborne County. I don't think we have a job problem per se, but we have a drug problem in Claiborne County. Now, with my background in mental health counseling and substance abuse, I have connections at the University of Tennessee and around the area to set up treatment facilities at no cost through grants that we will apply for as a county.
Well, I have been around most of the streets of this county and the communities, actually with my flyers and introducing us to everyone. Many shake their head and a lot have the same concerns, and those are my concerns too as a resident. I'm just going to share some because you may agree. They are curious to find out why the same people own most of the same businesses. That makes them a special interest group. And so they vote no at the commission meetings for things that we don't even know is going on until after it's in the paper. Yes, people should go to the commission meetings and the county meetings. Yes, they should. And I tell them that when they talk. But it's very hard to understand why many people drive through Tazewell. That needs to stop. They drive straight through or they bypass it. And if we can utilize the scenic highway of 25, there's property owners there that probably would like to sell if there were interest that could come into the community without being stopped first. That is one thing I would like to find out about, and I'd like to put a stop to that.
Okay, what I'd like to do from day one, getting in there, I would have an open door policy for all the citizens in the county. They can come talk to the county mayor whenever they need to. I would push for open and transparent government. In other words, you get the news out on the current events, what is going on, answer questions. Along with, I agree with a lot of my counterparts here that we need a drug rehab facility in Claiborne County. And I also have been involved with veterans treatment courts, which are veterans diversion courts. And what that does, that specifically gives any veteran a choice of going through a treatment court rather than going to jail. And that could be done the same way with our drug problems that we have. And also I agree with we have resources here in the county that we are not using, okay? Every weekend you see people going elsewhere, spending their money elsewhere, in different counties, different areas. When we have resources here that we could use and hopefully bring people in, which would bring in extra revenue for the county. As far as employment, I can tell you right now, when I first moved here, in order for me to get a decent job, I could not get hired in Claiborne County. I had to go elsewhere. And that's what I run into daily. There's a string of cars that drive through Claiborne County to other counties for employment. So we do need more businesses here. And that would be something else that would be on number one on the agenda. And thank you for your vote.
Is this on? That's a big question for 2 minutes, but we'll go. The first thing that I would like to address, in 2014, we talked about transparent government. And, you know, I think when we're looking at issues that's going to affect the taxpayers and they're going to have to pay more money, then we ought to have town hall meetings in every district of the county. Some of the county commissioners are here, and invite the county commissioners to those town halls and get an idea of what the people really want and what they think. Then let the commissioners go back and vote the way their people told them to. And if they don't, then maybe they suffer the consequences. But we ought to be open. But before I run out of time, I do want to address the Boys and Girls Club. We've been meeting since September of 2014. So apparently, there must be 2 different groups meeting. Some of the executive committee is here tonight that we've been meeting with, and it's with Walter State. So to that point, I'll say if there's 2 different things going on, it just shows the ineffectiveness of county government. Instead of coming together and working together, we divide and separate. So that is still something that's dear to my heart, and I'll keep working on that, whether I'm elected or not elected. Thank you very much.
Ellen?
A lot of good points that's been brought out. Claiborne County is a very beautiful county. And yes, we border the park. But the problem is that most of you young people and the working age people, they can't afford to enjoy going to these places. Your starting salary is around $23,000 for our police officers. Our county workers is about the same. I'm talking about our road workers. They can't, most of them has to get a second job. All right, the people that works at the factories and everything, they can't live on $25,000 to $30,000 a year. You gotta, today's life, and this is just the way it is. We're trying our best to hold these big companies from coming in here because of the other companies that are already here. Now I know this is gonna ruffle some feathers, but if every store that you go into in Claiborne County, it's got a help wanted, the biggest majority. Help wanted. Help wanted. Well, when they can take and draw and do more and stay home than what they can make by working, then they're crazy for coming out. We have to do something. We gotta come up with the times. Come up with the times. It costs us a fortune for people to live. I can't enjoy it. I have a big farming operation. Can't hire no workers. That's the problem with everybody else. And we're asking our police officers and everything to go in and bust these drug dealers on that kind of salary. Would you do that for that?
Time.
Thank you.
We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, Dr. Sellers will ask the second question, and we'll begin with Mr. Jack Daniels.
I always dreamed of playing college basketball. My teachers, on and off the court, taught me that a strong game plan and teamwork are vital to success. Through their mentoring, I began to see a future beyond basketball. LMU's graduate business program offered me the opportunity to extend my education, paving the way for my career. Lincoln Memorial University isn't just a school, it's a game changer.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
We're returning to our County Mayor Forum rundown this evening here at Lincoln Memorial University. I have a second question, and this question will start with Jack Daniels. And the question is this: if elected, how will the mayor's office work more closely with the Chamber of Commerce to improve public utilization of the county's many resources, like the lakes, the parks, the businesses, etc.?
Okay, that's a good question. And matter of fact, we met today. You know, we're talking about jobs, and we're also talking about the question that you just asked. And what we're doing, we're working very closely in that with the ECD board. And we met with a company today that bought knitting apparel out there across from England's. A very great company, and we've spent about 2 hours with them, and they're shutting down one of them in Knoxville, and they're bringing all the headquarters in that to the apparel out here at Tazewell. And so the jobs, they said from between 70 to 150 jobs. And the question, now what was the question? I can't hardly hear you, Dr. Sellers.
I was asking how will the mayor's office work more closely with the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, that's okay, yeah. Okay, well, that's what we did today, okay? And we've been working very closely here with the Boys and Girls Club and all these things here, because these things do not just happen to them. That's what I'm saying. Now, I'm a Baptist preacher. If I say amen, it'll be all right. But we're going to work very closely with trying to improve living in Claiborne County. Look here, to pay down the debt and get clean water, and my main concern here for Claiborne County is working with the schools and making sure that we get the safety there for the teachers and the students and the faculty of our schools. I don't think a teacher needs to be carrying a gun teaching school. But I'm going to work very hard towards that, and I am working toward that. And my door has always been open at Jack Daniels' office. Thank you.
I just want to be clear, we're talking about the Chamber of Commerce and not the CEP as another entity of the ECP, right?
Yes, sir.
So, as I mentioned earlier, we have a great many resources in Claiborne County. As county mayor, I will lay out a vision that I have to draw tourism into Claiborne County, into our parks, rivers, and lake. Those are going to continue to grow on what we're seeing on the Powell River already with the River Regatta. Those are going to continue to grow what we see on Norris Lake with regard to our recreation facilities that we already have. We're going to continue to host bass tournaments and bring more tournaments into our lake to get more people onto our natural waters. I'm also going to try to work closely with the National Park Service to develop an initiative to where Claiborne County is a stopping off point for hikers, day hikers, through hikers, etc. I believe that if we can draw people here for what they drive through and see and get them off the road, we will bring more dollars and more tax revenue into our county. And be sure the mayor can't do that by himself. In a role as mayor, you have a vision, you have a plan, and you have to have the right people in place at the Chamber of Commerce that are going to help you make those visions into reality. As mayor, I will work lockstep with the Chamber of Commerce. Any needs that they have to see those plans put into place, they will have them. Any ideas that they have or needs from the county that they need, they will have those as well. One man will not say that they can do all the things to get people to come into Claiborne County, but as a partnership with the mayor's office and the Chamber of Commerce, we can get a lot of folks coming into Claiborne County. Thank you.
I think most of us would agree with Joe Brooks on that. I'm sure that everybody agrees on that. How are we going to make that happen? It takes all of us, not just those on the boards of all these places. Do you even know what all those abbreviations that Joe just said a while ago and everybody's using? Do you even know what all those abbreviations stand for and what they're doing? Like I said earlier, I'm still trying to figure out why the Chamber of Commerce dropped the Tourism Committee. This is what we're talking about. You got to bring in revenue. Why drop them? They're a separate entity now. They're a foundation. I don't know who started that, but I still see vehicles pulling out on the roads. When we are on side roads, and the road department needs to pay attention to this too. They do work on the roads. I see them all the time, but there's no stop signs. There's no yield signs. They can order them. They can tell me they have ordered them, but people still think if there's no sign, they don't have to stop. And then where are you at? You're coming straight down the road. You can't see them because the hayfields and ditches aren't mowed. That is a big deal this time of year to me. Also, the fully loaded semis. Do you ever see a big semi fully loaded that is on a side road where it doesn't belong? Do you ever hear it shifting gears and what they do with the squealing brakes? They don't belong there. For some reason, they're avoiding 25 or 75, I don't know. TDOT needs to pay attention to that, and I will go talk to these people myself. I think it's a simple request. And when you need to know that you can come in to the mayor's office and talk to them, ask them who you should be going to when you have a problem or a complaint. Maybe you don't know where to go.
That's time.
Okay, the biggest thing is with anything is that as mayor, you would have to work closely with the chamber and also ask for input from the citizens of the county on what they would like to see being available to use for our parks, for our, we have a nice county park, or city park, I think it is, that individuals use, but there's never nothing going on there that I know of on the weekends, okay? Cumberland Gap has all sorts of different activities during the year. I don't see any reason why we couldn't work with the chamber to try to promote different activities, different groups coming in and using our facilities. We have a fairgrounds that's used very, very seldom. We have facilities that are out there. It's just a matter of the chamber and the mayor's office and the citizens of Claiborne County to get together and decide that they want to do something. And I agree with Joe on a lot of stuff that he said about working with the chamber. And that's pretty much it.
So the mayor's office should be working with the Chamber of Commerce, but what happens so often is we talk about things and get something started and get a good idea, then we drop the ball and we never proceed with it and never see it followed through. So I would have regular meetings with them, not just here and there, but every month, and try to promote things, you know, that would help people come into our county. I talked to people just last week talking about some of the TVA land that's here in our county that would be wonderful. They drive to other counties just to ride a mountain bike. And they was talking about the TVA land that we can't use here in our own county. So I think, you know, we need to open those lands up and work with the chamber and get things like that started. But it all still boils down to growth. And Hamlin County is a good example. They are building restaurants, new jobs, just almost constantly. And you have to market and sell your county. You can't sit back and wait for things to come to you. You've got to be a salesperson, and you have to go out and market and sell your county and where you live. Thank you.
We got a beautiful county, like I just said. My thoughts on this is with the Chamber of Commerce is go to the people that knows what they're talking about. Go to the businesses and see what they need to get people to want to stop, to get people to see the beauty of this county. Sevierville, places like that, I've been there. But when I get there, I miss home so much because we got the same thing that they do, except the stuff like the hotels and stuff like that. That's it. That's the tourism committee, as one of them was saying. Let's go to people that knows what they're doing, and it should be monthly. And if it's for a benefit to our county to bring in more revenue, it should be weekly. And I can't tell you how to catch bass, fish, and stuff like that. I don't fish, but we have a good hunting place, areas, and fish, golf. One of the nicest golf courses around, and we should be promoting that. But we have to work together, and the tourism committee, that's very important. That's all.
If I'm elected mayor, I'd like to start a website and have our county's high points on there, the lakes, the rivers, all the beauty of the country. Like Melvin said, the hunting, the fishing, the regatta. We got the rivers. We've got, it's a beautiful place. When we first came here, we just came for the weekends, and then we got into business here and we bought it. We stayed, but it was we came for the lake and the lake alone. But that things we have should attract people to come and stay, and the mayor's office should work with every other county office, the Chamber of Commerce, anything to promote the county. And like Melvin also said, if you need to meet with them weekly, have a day set aside or a couple hours where you can compare notes and see what we need, and just talk to the businesses here and get see what led them to come here, and then make it attractive to the other folks to come. Because once you come, if you fall in love, you stay.
That completes our second question. I will ask our third question, and we'll begin with Mr. Brooks. I'm correct, right? What would you do if elected in the next 4 years to work with and assist the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office in combating what all of you have already identified as a major problem in Claiborne County?
As I mentioned earlier, right now what we have in the Claiborne County Sheriff's Department in the jail, we have a ad hoc treatment facility, which means that we lock people up that are on substances and they get no treatment. They come out of jail with the same problem they went in with. Now, as far as the Sheriff's Department goes, I don't think that I have the wherewithal or the talents to tell David Ray or the next sheriff, whoever that person may be, how to run the Sheriff's Department. But I do have ideas on how we can curb our problem in Claiborne County. First, we're going to work with Jared Effler, and we're going to change some of the laws, try to get some of the laws changed, the sentencing laws, to reduce that down to community service. Okay? I'd like to see people that are repeat offenders, as you well know, the revolving door, to get out and do weekend activities for the betterment of Claiborne County, as long as they are seeking drug treatment at the same time. Okay? We have a problem in the jail. We need to get those folks out. Now, as I mentioned, I'd like to start applying for grants to do a tri-county treatment facility located here in Claiborne County that would be a full-service drug, alcohol treatment facility that would be intended for long-term maintenance to get people off opioids and other addictive substances. Without that in place, nothing else is going to happen in Claiborne County. It's a myth to say that you can take somebody from a substance for 30, 60, 6 months, 1 year, and that they're not going to go back to it as soon as they're reintroduced into that substance. Without the accurate therapy that they need, they're constantly going to go back to that substance, and that will be my first step working with David Ray and the rest of the county to implement a treatment facility here in Claiborne County.
Time.
Well, if you've ever been to a Knox County meeting, and we have been to a few, just for veteran services and things, their eyes light up when they hear what's going on in this county, and that we can't answer questions. Why isn't it public? Why aren't you getting answers? You know, this is something that you might have to consider. That's what accountability is all about. I just want the people of this county to read the ballot to see if you want the same old thing. Or the people I've talked to, they all say that this is the same old dog running again. And I don't mean it as an insult, it's just that that's the way they feel. It's the same people running. It's the same people in the county courthouse. They're all related. They're all in-laws. You can stop that. And you're smiling, so I know you know what I'm saying. You can stop it. You can vote, and that's why we do it. It's our right, it's our privilege, and nobody knows how you voted. They will never know how you voted. Try to remember that. Thank you.
Okay, basically to work with the sheriff, like I said before, we need a drug rehab type facility, drug and alcohol rehab. I can tell you that I am a mentor for Veteran Treatment Court in Blount County because part of my current job is I cover all of Eastern Tennessee, including Claiborne County. And the veteran diversion courts and the other diversion type courts, where instead of sending them to jail for minor drug offenses or repeat drug offenses, you get them treatment, because a lot of the other counties have figured out that, like Joe said, is if you put them in jail and they got a drug problem, they're going to serve their sentence, get out, and they're still going to have that problem. Okay, so we got to come up with a way to get funding to actually get some treatment in there. And the other side thing on that is that I would strongly pursue funding to allow the sheriff's office to provide resource officers for every one of the Claiborne County schools. I don't foresee anything happening, but that is something that has to be brought forward. It's in the picture. I know there's state funding for it. I don't know if it's being pursued right now, but that is something that I would push for. But the biggest thing is treatment. If somebody wants treatment, they should be able to get treatment, and even have an ability of where there's the possibility of possibly getting funding to get some sort of day center where if somebody does a minor minor law violation. Instead of sending them to jail, they have an alternative system to get some sort of counseling versus jail time.
Well, I don't know nobody that's not been affected by drugs or know somebody that has. And it certainly is a problem, and I won't repeat the treatment part that everybody's already talked about. That's, of course, we need to do that, but other than working with the Sheriff's Department and the DA, besides that, I think our drug problem has to start with education. And I think drug programs need to be put back in school, preventive programs, and we'll never solve that problem overnight. We'll have to work with the Board of Education and educate our kids and change the mindset of young people before we ever take care of that problem. And sadly, to say that it can't be fixed quickly, but it can be fixed if we come together as a community and work at it. I just talked to a guy before I came over here. They're meeting at their church tonight to get a program together for treatment for drugs. So I think the churches in our community could play a big part in helping also. I told him, I said, could you imagine if 80 churches in Claiborne County would all come together and work together for our young people to solve that problem? What an impact that we could have. So it's a community effort. It's not a mayor's particular job or a sheriff's job. This problem is too big for 1 or 2 or 3 departments. The whole community would have to come together, and I think that we have good people, and I think we could do that if we work at it. Thank you.
Well, if y'all don't mind, look up the Isaiah House in Williamsburg, Kentucky, their success rate.
Excellent.
And what that is working with the ones that's wanting to get off drugs. If they want to get off the drugs and see the need to get off the drugs, then we should have the facilities to do that. But also, just not for treatment of the mind, they need to have something to do to be productive. I've been working with Justin up in Virginia. We've been talking about this, Justin Helton, and talking about as much like growing vegetables or something like that. Put them out and let them work and sell that product in Claiborne County. And give them something that makes themselves productive and let them stay there for at least a year. I think the program up there is a year. If they're nonviolent, if they go through it, no problems, then you give a recommendation to an employer after that is over with. They have to stay there, but it has to be the whole community. When we say enough is enough, as many people, and everyone on this table is thinking the same thing. I've been tragically affected with this. My son don't have a leg to walk on. He's got a prosthetic from dope. Buried many relatives. If you want to see something sad, go dig a grave with your own machine and have to put somebody there you dearly love in the grave. But we have to work together. It ain't a quick fix.
Time.
I'm willing to work with the sheriff or any drug problem, anybody that can solve the problem, but the problem goes back to accountability. We've all came up through drugs, in the 60s and 70s and some older than that, but, till the parents take accountability for their own children and we make the children stand on their own, we're not going to have any help. You look in the newspaper every week, it's the same names doing the same things. It's a revolving door into jail. But, we need the help of the Lord. We need to put the Lord back in schools and in our homes And like Dennis said, you know, we got a lot of churches in the county. If we could all get together and get some programs, you know, it's not going to be fixed quick. It'll take a lot of time, a lot of resources, and a lot of prayers.
Well, I've already been working with the sheriff of Claiborne County, David Ray, and you know, I think one of the best things that ever happened to this county was when the trustee program came in. You notice that you see them out here working, Dr. Burchett, everywhere that we look. They're able to help work in the schools during the summer, and they're always keeping everything good and clean on the roadways and stuff. But I agree, we need more education, rehab clinics, and that to help these people. But now, I'll have to say this, for me to get help, I have to first want help. And as Randall just said there, our country, our county, look here, this is not just Claiborne County's problem. This is a problem in the whole United States of America. We see it every day, Dr. Burchett. We watch it on TV. And these problems here that we're having, we have to address them. It starts at home. I started at home with my daughters, and I thank God that neither one of them has ever addressed any type of drugs in their life, and I'm thankful for that. But I'm willing, and my door's always open, and that to any suggestions. And Governor Haslam has put forth $30 million towards this opioid problem, drug problems. But we'll take that and we'll utilize that money and use it towards that. And so you can only do with what you have to do with. Thank you.
Our fourth question this evening is the following. As you know, there are some other problems besides the drug problem. And so if elected mayor, how will you work with social agencies, health agencies, to combat spouse abuse, child neglect, rehabilitation, and other social problems facing Claiborne County? And Ms. Christine Mabry, you first.
Well, that was the next topic for me, was finding out as I've been traveling around the county. Today I found out there were 5 different volunteer groups that I had no idea about. One of them consists of 2 items. She leads the MAD organization, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, but not only does she do that, she has volunteers that come in and help her sort clothing for adult grandparents who have custody of their grandchildren because their children are in drugs or messed up somehow. Those people don't get compensated. So this volunteer group is there for the grandparents. They may have food or they may not be able to have clothes. That's what all these food ministries are for. If you visit the food ministry on Montgomery Street or behind the courthouse, you'll hear the same stories. The wives, sometimes it's the wife that screws up. And the husband is home left with 5 kids. He's still working, but he can't afford food and pay the bills. So there are always resources now, and we need to show that to people when they move in. They won't move here if they don't have help when they need it. They'll just keep driving.
Okay, as far as working with social agencies, my current position is a social agency. I work for Volunteers of America, which is a non-denominational church, a 501c3, and because I cover most all of East Tennessee, I currently have a lot of contacts with a lot of different social agencies that deal with elderly abuse, child abuse, you name it. I'm also the CEO of the All Veterans Stand Down, and part of what we do with that is we get donations, and we actually donate it to the different groups in the area. The abuse shelter, we donate to cease, and I don't remember who it was we saw today. Sherry, we donated some stuff to her today, and my contacts, because I've been doing this for 13 years, I have a lot of contacts with the social agencies, and being a mayor, I would still have those contacts and be able to hopefully bring more assistance to Claiborne County to help our citizens that are suffering.
Let me say on social services and these agencies, there is a lot of volunteers that just volunteers their time, and you know, we need to recognize them and give them credit. But you know, if mayor, I would definitely work with them closely and try my best to help them any way that we can. I'm personally living through some of that now. My mother is home with hospice care, and we talk to those hospice nurses, and they mention like hospice houses and stuff that's in surrounding counties, and how desperately we need to work to have things like that here. And I certainly wish that we could, and I know that takes resources and money, but you know, there's some things that should take priority over others. And I think our most vulnerable citizens, our elderly, needs our respect, and I think our young people needs to be educated and taught these things, and before they get to the age that they have to use these social services and agencies, that it's there for them. So it's an important issue, and we definitely need to work together to make them stronger in our community. Thank you.
Well, my outlook, I've had some dealings with this same thing. I say we need to hold the ones that the agencies accountable for if they don't take care of the matter. And I mean, want to work with anybody, try to help anybody that I can, and I have. But if something that's happened, you can't wait 6 months down the road to take care of the problem. It has to be took care of then. And the children is usually the ones that really suffer. And it's a shame. I was blessed to have a mother and father that loved and cared and took care of me, a grandfather and grandmother that loved and took care of us. We was brought up, and if something was going on, even if it was their own children in our community, they would take it and make sure it was took care of. All the praise. I've dealt with the volunteers. I've dealt with the Tennessee Department of Human Services to help some children, and they got adopted. They're doing good. But as mayor, we need to hold the people that's in charge of taking and hold them accountable for their job. And that's all I got to say.
Most abusers have been abused somewhere in their life, and you know what, I think abuse goes back to the bullying, and we have programs in place in schools to stop bullying and report bullying if you see it. There's all sorts of bullying. We have it on the internet, we have it in the classroom, we have it in the workplace. But you know, I would work with any of the programs that help. You know, we've got the, like Catherine and her husband were saying, the Christie's office down there, Appalachian resource, something that's about Mothers Against Drunk Driving, but they do a lot of help for single parent homes where the grandparents are raising the children, and we have a C shelter, we've got DHS or DCS, whichever you want to go with the initials, but we have a lot of programs in place. We just need to support them and try to change the abuse.
Social services and the abuse that okay, the abuse that's going on, you know, I see that pretty much weekly as the mayor of Claiborne County. And I'm very thankful to the elected officials, our county commissioners. I want to say this, that they never deny anything for cease or the senior citizens or anything in any way. I'm very proud of that. And I think that, you know, when you see an abused child come in, oh, I'm like the rest of them. I think they should get the full benefits, and the one that did it ought to get the full benefits too. Because there's no need for children and stuff, but with this abuse, if you'll check on this abuse, okay, ever what kind it may be, it will go back to drugs. And we've got young people. I told a family today, I was talking to a man today, and I told him, I said, you know, it's sad. I just feel like we're losing like 40% of the next generation. And we need to work harder toward that. I'll agree with that 100%. And I'll promise you one thing, I will work 100% towards helping any agency and that against this abuse, and Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. That lady there that she was talking about is a great program. I had a grand opening there the other day, like a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, just need to get involved, and I tell you what, if we'll work together, and I've always worked together with the people of Claiborne County. Thank you.
As mayor of Claiborne County, and given my background in social work, I would like to utilize and access the many options that are made available that some folks don't know. We can get a multitude of help through philanthropic endeavors in the county. As an early on in my social work career, I had the blessing of working with Dr. Edward Robinson in establishing Servolution Health Services in Speedville, Tennessee, to serve uninsured individuals below the poverty line. We applied for grants to get that up and running, and now, after many years, they are eligible to take teen care to see children that are uninsured in Claiborne County. Get those folks on need. Across agencies, I'd like to see the county do more to the nonprofits in our area. We can do that through contributions, charitable contributions. How are we going to do that? We're going to have to first reduce our spending, lower our taxes. Our aging population, I believe that if you've worked hard all your life in Claiborne County, you've paid your taxes, you own your property, that when you reach the age of 65, you should be eligible for a reduction in property taxes to ease the burden of growing old. Many of those grandparents are raising their grandchildren, and they have very little help. Most of those come out of drug homes. I believe if we start thinking out of the box and looking at some of these problems on how we can help our people here in Claiborne County, we're going to find that the right solution is just right in front of us. We've just not reached out and got it yet. As mayor of Claiborne County, I will see that that happens.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take a break, and I think you people are probably getting a little stiff. We're going to have to work on this pretty fast. Adam will fuss at me if I don't do this. We're going to take a 1.5 minute break. I'm going to give you 1 minute to stretch your legs, stand up, and be seated when we come back. We'll be back in 1.5 minutes.
The moment I stepped foot onto LMU's campus, I knew this was where I belonged. I went to a small high school in San Antonio, Texas, and I was looking for a similar college experience. LMU's small classrooms provided me with hands-on instruction and an intimate learning environment. This allowed me to build strong relationships, which helped to shape the person I am today. Lincoln Memorial University isn't just a school. It's a family.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
I always dreamed of playing college basketball. My teachers on and off the court taught me that a strong game plan and teamwork are vital to success. Through their mentoring, I began to see a future beyond basketball. LMU's graduate business program offered me the opportunity to extend my education, paving the way for my career. Lincoln Memorial University isn't just a school, it's a game changer.
Just joined us, those of you who are watching on our television and listening on the radio, you're watching the Claiborne County Mayor Forum. And we are down to question number 5, and that question will be asked by myself. I'm trying to make sure I get this worded correctly. 4 years ago, as I understand it, the Boys and Girls Club was discussed as something good to bring to this county. That being said, what new programs would you introduce into county government in your 4-year term if you were to be elected? Mr. Vincent, I think we start with you on that question.
Okay, well, it'd be nice to have the Boys and Girls Club in existence now. As far as any other type organizations, I can think of right offhand, I'd like to see about possibly getting some organizations up here that would provide more options for some of our elderly retired folks. I can't really name off the couple I'm thinking of because I never talked with them about it, but I have ideas. And also, there needs to be some sort of care, especially during the summer, for all our working parents, for the children that I can't say that they're all left at home, but it's putting a lot of parents in a bind. So that would be the two things. The Boys and Girls Club would take care of that, but then also I believe we'd need some sort of child care center to take care of the age group that would not be able to go to the Boys and Girls Club, and definitely something to take care of the elderly and the retired.
Of course, that's why the Boys and Girls Club is such a passion of mine, because I think once you establish something like that in your community, other things stems from it. I think you get good ideas once it gets going for other things to happen. And I agree with this gentleman about the elderly. I think that we do need something for them. Earlier was talking about tax relief, and I know there's some counties around us that the commission had a resolution and they exempt the elderly from paying their property taxes, because we have elderly people in our county that has to struggle between paying their property taxes and buying their medicine. And I think that's a shame that we don't approach issues like that and try to help those people out, because they're out there and they're struggling and they need their county government to come forth and help them out. Thank you.
Well, besides the Boys and Girls Club, there's also the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. I know several of them that's involved. We need to put a more emphasis on that in our schools for the children to do that. And they, during the summer, they camp, they do all sorts of things. And I've even offered property for those to do that on. And just our children, and just like the youth program we used to have in our schools, that the children that's over a certain age, they can work at the schools and do the youth program. I know several children, young adults that done that of my age group, and they become productive citizens. I mean, they had no work to do at home like some of the rest of us did on the farms. But you gotta have something for these children to do. They have to have something to do. They have to have a proper role model. And then it goes again, that goes back to our community, us as a county. And if I win the mayor, I will do everything in my power to go to these schools and just try my best to talk the children into doing these things. There's no greater thing to do than be a help and an influence to a child later on in life when they come up and tell you that. That's all I have to say.
Well, we already have a little league baseball and softball in Harrogate and New Tazewell, and we used to have senior league. I'm not sure if they do. I was down there all summer, but I didn't see any big kids participating. I don't know if they have senior league. I've had enough kids that age. But we have the lakes and the rivers for fishing. We have all kinds of farmland for hunting. Now we have archery in the school systems, and it's even a college sport. We have a bowling alley in Harrogate that we have bowling. They have bowling leagues, I know, in the morning, and during the summer they could have them all day long for children and the adults. And just this week I had an older gentleman in town. He showed me a piece of property. He said, we need to buy that property or rent it and put up a putt-putt golf course. You know, back in the 70s days, they were very popular, and they still are in lots of places. But, you know, everybody, anytime you go to Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, everybody tries to play something down there. But there's a little spot there in Tazewell. He said, and then, you know, he doesn't have any kids or grandchildren. He just said, that'd be a good place. They're always busy when I pass it in Kingsport, different places. So there's a few ideas, and there's plenty more. Thank you.
Well, like I've already said, we've been working with Walter State and to provide a Boys and Girls Club at no cost to the taxpayers of Claiborne County by attaining grants and donations. And, you know, I was talking about tax relief and that for the seniors and the disabled. Alice is over there running for trustee again. We already have that program in place. Am I not right, Alice? Thank you. And helping our senior citizens and stuff, and doing good with them, you know, it just blesses their hearts. I go down to the park down here where they have their annual dinner every year. Oh, and they're just tickled to death. And I was proud that the budget committee put 2 new senior citizen vans in the budget for this year. It's not passed yet. But I told them, I said, those senior citizens may whoop you if you don't pass it. But the Boys and Girls Club is a very important thing. But you've got to realize one thing. We can sit here and talk about this and talk about that and all these things. But the key word is it takes money and it takes people working besides just myself. We all have to work together for these goals. And there has never been no one come to my office. My door is always open. I work with people. I talk with them every day. And you know, you talk about transparency. There's some things that you have to shut the door, Gary, because it's a personal matter with that family. And I don't want everybody knowing that. But the tax relief program and helping our seniors and all these things, I think, is already in place, and I appreciate Alice for that.
As I understand the efforts to establish a Boys and Girls Club in Claiborne County, I think that'd be a good thing. But I think where we're falling short when we get sidetracked and myopic in our focus to say we want to do a Boys and Girls Club in Claiborne County, we're going to serve the south side of the river only with the Boys and Girls Club. Be clear about that. That's for inner city children. Those will come out of your projects in Tazewell and New Tazewell. You'll have to have massive transportation to get those folks there. I'm not against it. I'm all for it. If we can make it work, let's make it work. I would, however, like to lean on somebody with experience in our county already. Mr. Mike McMill in Sharps Chapel has been running a nonprofit called City Slickers that takes inner city kids in Detroit, Chicago, major metropolitan areas and brings them down here all summer long. I would like to lean on somebody with experience that's already working with those type of children and get something on this side of the river, something centrally located. Why not have two areas, okay? I think our kids need something to do. We had a roller rink, an arcade, could shoot billiards when we were kids. I think if we could reduce taxes on small businesses to where they would be tax exempt for the first 2 years of business, and then put them on a graduated tax system, there would be more people that would want to take a chance on starting a bounce house in Claiborne County to let our kids go to. I think if we give people an incentive to say, let's do something for our kids, there's going to be more people that step up to do that. Our senior citizens do need things in Claiborne County, that's for sure. We have 2, 3 wonderful senior citizens facilities, Tazewell, Harrogate, and in Clairfield. I think sometimes we overmiss those populations, but if we could reduce the burden on aging citizens, it would help those folks out as well. Thank you.
And senior citizen centers do a lot. They keep company for each other and all, but they are not equipped to take care of the Alzheimer's. They need daycare while their children who are taking care of them are going to work, taking their kids to school and the whole routine. I think that needs to be addressed. I don't think everyone needs to be in a nursing home. I think there's an interim there between. And the 501c3s, if we all don't know about them, and I don't, I think there needs to be a list of them at the courthouse where they're registered, or someone get the state list for this county and post it so that we know a central location is where we can find out that information. On my travels, I've talked to a lot of businesses, and I ask people when I'm handing my flyer out, are you a voter of Claiborne County? No, I'm sorry. I live in Granger. No, I own this business, but I'm in Bell County. I can't vote for you. Why is that? Have we lost a whole generation on the drug epidemic that we're all talking about? A whole generation is gone, and people are hiring from other counties, maybe because they have to. It just seems so wrong, the way things have happened. And also, we've traveled a lot. When the first 2 years we were here, and I'm running out of time, we went down every road we could, and we traveled all over the state, and just got lost sometimes. We didn't have a GPS. But people ask where we were from. They say, where is that? We've never heard of it. What do you do there? What's there for fun? Oh, Cumberland Gap, go on and on. They didn't know a thing about us, not a thing. And that was 13 years ago for 5 years. We've come a long way. We need to go more. Thank you.
Thank you. For our last question, I'd like all of you to answer this. How would you, if elected mayor, improve the relationship with the county and the 4 city officials and all the officials out there, all the local officials? How would you improve relationships? And we'll start with Dennis.
That's a great question, and I think that's very important for us to come together with the city mayors and the county mayors and work as one, as a county. We've always been divided by the Powell River for some reason. I've really never understood that, but it's just the fact. And I think if the county mayor and the city mayors would meet regularly on a monthly basis and really sit down and talk about, hey, what's good for the citizens of the county, not just your city or another one's city, but what's good for the whole county. And sit down and really discuss those things and figure out some things to do to bring us together instead of divide us. I've lived here all my life, and there's always been a division. And, you know, I've been, since the last election, I've attended most of the county court meetings. And you get a sense when you're there, it's like on the federal level. You have one group versus the other group, and it's always arguing or controversy, bickering back and forth about one thing or another, and nothing never gets accomplished. Nothing gets done. So I think that's a great question, and I would make that a top priority to meet on a regular basis with the city mayors for the better of our county. Thank you.
Well, as far as I know, it's Claiborne County. And yes, I believe in past times that we did have a difference in the county. But I got friends in the all over the county, farmers, working people, regular people, family. I got a sister that lives right against the river on the other side. We all have the same problems, but it's a shame that our county cops wants to go work for the city cops because of the benefits and everything. I think we need to work to get our county employees up to standards, at least with their city. It's a shame. It's a shame. We ask so much of our workers, and yes, we might not have, some of us got perfect roads, some of us got the worst roads, but you can't do everything at one time. And I just count us all as one county. And if elected for mayor, that's the way I'm going to treat it. The city I don't care a bit to walk in the city office, talk to the chiefs of police of either one, talk to the city mayors, and they're Claiborne County. There's not a difference. But if people wants to make a difference, go ahead. But in my eyes, we're one county, and if we all work together and be honest with one another, then we can succeed in doing anything that we want. We can have tourism, we can have whatever we want. The drugs epidemic, everything. Thank you.
I know 3 of the mayors personally. I've never met Cumberland Gap's mayor, but if I'm elected mayor, I would be open to helping them and working with them in any way possible, because we can get a lot more done together than we can pulling separately. It's one county. The cities just make up the county, so it's we're all in it together. Everybody's the same. There'll be no big I's, little U's. If I'm your mayor, I'll work with you as well as I will any mayor or any other elected official. That's just the way it should be and the way it will be if I'm your mayor. Thank you.
I have worked with all 4 of the city mayors that are elected in Claiborne County, and I'll promise you one thing: you can check with anyone that has ever walked into my office, whether you voted for me or whether you didn't. Guess what? I'm still there for you. And I've not treated nobody no different on the south side as I have over on the north side. Simply because, look here, God said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So as a servant, I took an oath when I took this office in 2010. And then in 2014, I took another oath. And I stand by those oaths, okay? I believe if we'll treat each other like we want to be treated, that God will be pleased with that. And so there's no difference on it. And look here, you can check on that with anybody on that side or this side. Now look here, don't get me wrong, there are going to be some chop their lips. But guess what? You check with the majority and see if Jack Daniels ain't been a helping hand to this county. Thank you.
Well, other than a river that does divide the county geographically, we have 3 distinct regions in our cities. Tazewell and New Tazewell are our urban area that people go to grocery shop. They go to Walmart, they get their gas, they buy their groceries. If you live in Harrogate, you're going through the tunnel for those things. Harrogate, in and of itself, is an educational center of Claiborne County. Parents want to send their children to school in H.Y. Leveson. People aspire to come to LMU for undergraduate, graduate courses. City of Cumberland Gap would be a great place for the tourism to go. We have the White Lightning Festival there already. I don't see why I couldn't work with the mayor of Cumberland Gap, who I've already talked about having concerts in the Gap, having movies on the square in the Gap, having things to get people into the Gap. Now, one of the things that I see a problem with a couple of municipalities in Claiborne County is that you have 2 cities side by side, Tazewell and New Tazewell, and they're always fighting over the same tax dollar. As mayor of Claiborne County, I would like to work with Mayor Beeler and Mayor Fannin in an effort to try to combine Tazewell and New Tazewell back into one entity. The reason why is because you would have a larger population of people, you would get other businesses to come in, restaurants would want to come to Tazewell or New Tazewell, whatever the new name of the municipality would be. They would not be fighting over tax dollars again. That would give Harrogate the opportunity to keep on the track that it's in with higher education, and then we could build with Cumberland Gap's strengths of making it a destination for tourists to come visit in the park and have other outdoor activities. I think it's easy to see that we are divided, but I think it's also easy to say that with mayor and the working relationships of all city mayors, we can bring this county together.
Well, Joe, I think you've been reading over my notes here because I was just going to say some of that. Sorry. He's reading my notes. Well, the reason why that is a good idea with New Tazewell and Tazewell, and I'm sure it's been suggested before, is that the state will give us more revenue in this county if we don't have too many towns fighting over money. Nobody's getting any, or they're not getting enough, let's put it that way. They should consider it. If it's for the greater good, that is what their job is. They have to consider it. Another thing that I've heard a lot of complaints about, and I'm going to share it. It's not popular, but I'm going to say it. You have policemen, you have 1 or 2 on a midnight shift, or 1 and 2 overlap on another department, police, and I'm talking about the police, not the county. You have more commissioners at the county meetings than you have police hired in those 2 towns. If you had state revenue that would help and that would consolidate those 2 towns, you'd have more police on it. At midnight, if I wanted them to come down, the county even, if I wanted them to come down Cedar Fork, it would take them 30 minutes if they weren't doing something else somewhere else. You know, a house on fire, you got no shot at saving your house, especially with a water hose, right? I mean, it just takes forever. Not even those substations. No one's there. They have to drive from their house. It's all volunteer. So think about your community service people, the people that do volunteer. They're volunteering on nothing. They work from their own labor, their own heart. If we can consolidate, we'll do better. That's what I'm going to shoot for.
Okay, as far as the biggest thing would be to have, I agree with what everybody's saying about having monthly or regular meetings with the different city mayors, town mayors. A lot of this problem I've run into a lot in my current position is where you might call it like a turf war, okay? This is my city, this is my castle. okay? I control it, I want to run it. But they don't understand that, you know, there's a sign that divides New Tazewell and Tazewell, okay? And I'll say the word, I'm an outsider. I have not been raised here. But where I was raised in upstate New York, I lived in a city called Elmira. And we moved to Elmira Heights. Same kind of situation, okay? For whatever reason, they broke away from Elmira and just added another name. As far as that would be the biggest thing is try to convince the other county mayors, the other town mayors, not county mayors, but try to convince them on what resources and funding they're missing by not combining. That is more tax revenue, more services. There's not separate services for each town, you know. I mean, they could combine everything. And it would just be better for all the citizens of both the towns and Harrogate and Cumberland Gap if we all just came together.
Thank you.
You know, on Tuesday, I had an opportunity to make a few remarks at a big event here, and it was the kickoff of our Lincoln Museum $1 million campaign to expand the museum. And I read a little thing about Willie Nelson. You all remember Willie Nelson, don't you? Willie Nelson wrote a song back in 1961. It was called Ain't It Funny How Time Slips Away. I know some of you folks my age will remember that song. That being said, that applies tonight. We'll take a break and be back with our closing comments.
The moment I stepped foot onto LMU's campus, I knew this was where I belonged. I went to a small high school in San Antonio, Texas, and I was looking for a similar college experience. LMU's small classrooms provided me with hands-on instruction and an intimate learning environment. This allowed me to build strong relationships, which helped to shape the person I am today. Lincoln Memorial University isn't just a school, it's a family.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah.
We're at our closing segment, and the way this will work, we'll start as we began. Number one, they've all had their numbers and they're seated in that correct order. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to make their closing remarks. Melvin, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Dr. Virgin. I just want to thank each and every one that's been here tonight, everyone that's talked, all the candidates. But listen, I believe in being what you are. You probably can tell by the way that I'm dressed. I work like this every day. I wear this, not the same clothes, but the clean ones to church. I believe in very hard work. I was brought up that way. And as county mayor, that's what I want to do. Not downgrading nobody, but I want to work and be as honest as I can to help everybody in Claiborne County. We have a drug problem that's very, very out of control. We have spending that's very, very wasteful. Very wasteful. The future for my children on my farms looks very dim. What can we do about it? Well, if you bring in tourism and do it properly, it'll make it easier on all of us. It'll make more money in our economy, be able to pay our people that work for the city or for the county more. Also, we need to take in and really think, are we satisfied? Are we satisfied? And no matter who you choose, go with what will satisfy you. And for the good of the county, I have friends, and I got neighbors and all. But do what is right. Who will work tirelessly? I was brought up, Albie Daniels brought us up. I'm the son of Virgil Daniels. We was brought up to work, never had a babysitter. That's what's wrong today. Our children are not with their parents, they're with their grandparents. And grandparents, most of them can't afford to even take care of themselves, let alone the children. So thank you for this opportunity to be here and to speak to you all.
Well, again, I'm running for mayor, and my wife is a retired school teacher, and there's 3 other retired school teachers in our family. I made a promise when I first started running for mayor that I would donate 10% of the salary back to the school systems. It'll go to the classroom for supplies for the students. We've also talked about starting a couple of scholarships, be one for Cumberland Gap students and one for Claiborne students. I've been a businessman. I want to run the county like a business, try to get us out of our debt, or reduce our debt anyway. Another thing I'm going to do to help the county, I will open the mayor's office 2 Saturdays a month. That way, just the mayor's office. If anybody else wants to follow suit, that'd be fine, but I'll be there for the people that work through the week and can't get there before 4:30. I'll be there from 8 to 12, and anything you need, I'll try to help you. And I'll work for you as hard as your mayor as I have campaigning. If you've not seen me out, you've not been out. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Claiborne County, and I'd like to thank Dr. Burchett and Dr. Sellers and that tonight for this opportunity, and thank LMU and each and every one that's here tonight. I want to thank everyone that's watching on TV tonight. We appreciate you. And you know, as we have went down these last 8 years, I've seen even more what it means to be a servant to the people of Claiborne County. And I'm very proud of the accomplishments. I sat here in 2010, and I made some promises to Claiborne County. I said, if you will elect me as the mayor of Claiborne County, I will prove myself to you. I ran on the logo of a helping hand. But now I'm running with a helping hand with proven leadership. And when I say proven leadership, this is what I mean. Right here, $21,755,000 paid on the debt of Claiborne County since 2010. I promised that. $5 million in water grants, and that for people to have clean water in Claiborne County. Little Sycamore area down there, they had worked 18 years to try to get water down through there. We went with an ARC grant, and I'll tell you how I see this. We worked with Governor Haslam, Congressman Duncan, State Representative Jerry Sexton, and all the elected officials, and I touched bases with people and negotiated, and we now are fixing to start another one that will make $1 million worth of water just in the Little Sycamore area, because it is a very distressed area. We checked 14 wells, and 12 of them was not even fit to drink. So we have added, I promised that I would help with the job problem. We have added hundreds of jobs. We have expanded manufacturing in Claiborne County. We have worked on the roads throughout improvements in the roads throughout Claiborne County. No, everybody's road is not done. But we are steadily working towards solving these problems in Claiborne County and working very hard for the safety of our teachers, children, and faculty. And that is the facts. That ain't no trying to get reelected for nothing. That is the facts, and I will appreciate your vote this year, and may God bless you.
Time, please.
I'm going to try something a little different here, and I'm not going to do this in the first person. I'm going to do this in the third person because, as was made comment and opening statement, I have run ads in the paper. Joe Brooks has run ads in the paper. Joe Brooks is trying to tell the citizens of Claiborne County what I have already started doing for Claiborne County. Joe Brooks stood up for Claiborne County to ensure that the citizens of Claiborne County had the right to go to the ballot box and vote on a key issue, which was a jail expansion 2 years ago. Joe Brooks did that. Anybody that ran for mayor 4 years ago did not stand up for you to do it, okay? Joe Brooks has a plan for Claiborne County. That is smaller government, lower taxes, transparent leadership. Joe Brooks has been running a website to educate and inform the citizens of Claiborne County for the last 2 years. Some of that has been verbatim conversations at all county meetings, jail committee meetings and the like. Joe Brooks has already been working for you. Now, as I challenged everybody in the audience listening tonight, you've heard a lot of good ideas, a lot of good stories, a lot of good words thrown out. Joe Brooks has a plan. I have introduced it. I've talked about it tonight. We're going to try to lower taxes. We're going to get people in Claiborne County that will stay, spend money, and be part of the fabric of Claiborne County. We can no longer exist with having people drive through and exit off for a day or two and then move on through Claiborne County. Now, it's a good group of people on this stage. And I'm thankful that LMU has hosted this forum tonight because, quite frankly, I hadn't met two of them before tonight. Yeah. And I'm glad that the citizens of Claiborne County now have been able to hear all 7 of the candidates that chose to show up speak to them today. Now, if you want somebody that's going to have the ability to go down and work with your legislative representatives and senators in Nashville, that's Joe Brooks. If you want somebody that has the wherewithal to talk and bring money into Claiborne County by going outside of Claiborne County to get it, that's Joe Brooks. If you want to keep doing business the way that you've been doing it, I am not your candidate. Joe Brooks is a forward thinker. Joe Brooks has plans of action, and Joe Brooks from day one is going to start working on all those plans. I'm running for county mayor, and I'm asking for your vote.
Well, I want to be the first woman mayor of Claiborne County. I want you to vote on your conscience. You've heard a lot of things tonight, and if you've lived here all your life, you know more than I do about what the Good Old Boy Network is or how things run. I've heard it every day that it'll never change, but it can change, and only you can make that difference. And also make sure that you have thanked the people that you know work in community service. Social workers work with bad situations. Cease, even Sherry at the MAD and organizations. There's so many places that if you see them out there working or can volunteer, make sure you say thank you for what they do. They do it for nothing, for their heart. And we need to bring those experiences together. We need to have town hall meetings. I think it's a great idea. Where else are you going to voice your opinion? I think the progress needs to be more transparent. Somebody seems to be editing, well, not, I don't know, editors maybe, I don't know who. They clinch stories that maybe need to be in there. We need to know what's going on. Where are we going to find it out at? It's our only paper. You don't read it there. I hope that you will think of the first woman mayor of Claiborne County and know that you'll be able to talk to me and that we will stand together, not just as women, we will be citizens of the Claiborne County and be able to make changes. If you can do that and be positive, then we have a chance. And it starts here, this year, and it starts now. Thank you.
Okay, well, I can make a few statements here. First of all, if I get voted in as Claiborne County Mayor, I will make sure to fulfill every duty that is in the county mayor's job description. I will push for open, transparent government. I will guarantee you right now that I will not serve any longer than 2 terms. I do not believe in the political system of where if you get a political type position, you retire in it or spend a lifetime in it. And that's on TV and radio, so I can't go back on it. I will provide monthly input meetings, sort of like coffee with the mayor, so I can get your ideas, okay? I mean, there's lots of very good ideas up here. I have some very good ideas, but it's Claiborne County that all the county citizens should be involved and have their input. Just because I have an idea, it may not work or you may not like it, well, I want to hear that. The other thing is that I would publish, and this is something that I've done in my previous position, a monthly letter or an article in the paper, if I can get it published, letting you know what is going on. Because so much, unless you attend a county commissioners meeting and some of these other meetings, which are sometimes at inconvenient times, you don't know what's going on. Perfect example, I did not know, and I still don't know, for a senior citizen, what is the discount? What is your tax discount? I have no idea. That's the information that should be out there. I have experience as 22 years a veteran in the Coast Guard. I've dealt with different situations. I am able to provide knowledge and references for grants for us to help the elderly, the children, and the various problems that we're going through. And I would also, along with, like what Joe was saying, is look at reducing the actual cost of the county government. And that I would do by looking line items through the budget, but also researching the actual government positions in the county government to reduce some of the cost. And I know this is not a popular subject, but it's something that everybody has to think about, okay? We have 9 different commissions or whatever in the county, but we have 21 commissioners. My biggest question is why? Why 21 when we only have 9 commissions? But I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out, those that's here, and showed interest in who's going to lead your county the next 4 years. Thank those that's watching and listening. 4 years ago, I said I was a citizen, not a politician, and that's still true today. My main concern running for mayor is that your kids, your grandkids inherit a county that if they choose to stay here and live here, they'll have great opportunities. So this election boils down to basically one thing. Who do you trust to get up each day and make Claiborne County a proud place to live? You trust someone that's born, raised, and lived here all their life, or not? I have. Some hasn't. Who do you trust to make the county stronger? I believe dedication and loyalty still matters. I feel it's important to know your candidate's work history and their dedication to their employer, because that's a good indication of how they will serve you if elected. I've been a dedicated and faithful employee of the H.T. Hackney Company since 1991, in which I've worked in sales, marketing, and management positions. And I will bring that same dedication to the mayor's office, who you trust to make our county better. If I'm elected as your next mayor, I will not have to tell you that I'm a leader. I'll show you through results. 4 years ago, we was promised no tax increase, yet we've had a tax increase and a wheel tax added to us. My opinion, broken promises do not equal proven leadership. And the millions that's paid on the county debt, listen, paying your debts is an obligation. It's not an accomplishment. The debt would have been paid whoever was in the office. So I hope you saw some clear differences here tonight in our campaigns. I'm running for you. I'm financing my own campaign as I did in 2014. That way I will not owe anyone or any group any political favors. I'm running to make our home what it should be, prouder, stronger, and better. As I stated before, I can't do it alone, especially with 8 people on the ballot. I ask for your support and prayers. Together, we can win this election. Thank you.
I'd like to personally thank each candidate that's here tonight, and I appreciate your coming and being a part and expressing your thoughts about the next mayor's race in the county. Also want to thank my partner. He and I enjoy the opportunity of being co-moderators. I want to thank the audience. It's good to have you folks show up. The weather didn't particularly help us a whole lot tonight, but thanks to our audience, and particularly those who are watching at home or listening on the radio. Also, I want to remind you, early voting, July 13 through the 28th. Election Day is August 2nd. I want you to understand that Lincoln Memorial University's LMU Community TV, 91.3 FM and 740 AM will have election returns on August 2nd. Something I think I need to say quickly. We have 2 cable systems, not to favor either one, but Sunset Media will be broadcasting our signal on channel 19 and Vive on 4. Now, it's been an honor for me to be a part of this. I've been so involved with Sigmund over lots of years. We need to do more of this type of thing. And above all else, of anything I would ask you to do as I say goodbye, please go vote. Thank you very much.